Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Carl, a member of the CK12 team, and my colleague Felix and I will be running this learning management breakout session on CK12 and Canvas Schoology. We're so glad that you've joined us. Before we begin with today's core content for today's webinar, I'd like to make sure that everyone's comfortable with the Zoom webinar platform. You should see two different options on your Zoom screen, one for Q&A and one for chat. During today's presentation, whenever you have a question about CK12, post it in the Q&A window. The chat window is a place for community conversation. We'd love for all of you to introduce yourselves. If you're an educator, feel free to share where you live and the subject you teach. Just be sure in the chat window that you're sending general posts to all panelists and attendees, not just to CK12 or the panelists. I can see quite a few people have written introductions and sent them only to the panelists. And we'd love everyone in today's webinar to see all your great comments, especially your introduction. So go back and take a look. If you just sent it to the panelists, go ahead and click on all panelists and attendees and reintroduce yourself so all the participants today can see you. And while we don't anticipate any technical issues during our broadcast, if you're having any trouble with your video or sound, please let us know in the Q&A or the chat window. So we have created a handy resource page for this webinar session. You can find it at the tiny URL, tinyurl.com/CK12 Canvas Schoology, and it's listed on the top of the screen here. We'll also put a link for today's resource in the chat window right now. So take a look and you can just click on that and open up all of the resource page for today. Of course, you can use it to follow along for today's presentation, or you can print it and use it as a later date as a reference page. Given this is meant to be a short webinar, specifically to highlight CK12's integration with both Canvas and Schoology, let's jump right into the content. And as we go, feel free to post any questions you have in the Q&A window. In this webinar, we'll be covering the following topics: setting up CK12 in your LMS. So this will cover requesting access on enterprise or individual accounts. Note that if you're using an LMS, you should plan to assign content there and skip creating a class within CK12. All your classes will be created in your LMS. Next, we'll take a look at Canvas, creating assignments and seeing student scores, as well as detailed reports in your Canvas gradebook. Finally, for our Schoology users, we'll show you how to create assignments and view student scores in your gradebook. Our main goal is by the end of this session, you will know about the LMS integrations we offered with Canvas and Schoology, including how to set them up, assign content, and review the reported scores within those platforms. In order to install CK12 in Canvas or Schoology, your school or district first needs to get a key from CK12 by filling out the request form. We recommend that whoever manages Canvas or Schoology for your school or district be the point person to request this key. We're going to go ahead and paste the link to that in the chat window right now. You can also find it on our Tools and Apps page, found in the footer of our any CK12 page, or you can use the direct link by clicking on CK12 on Schoology or CK12 on Canvas. So take a look here. That's our Schools and Apps page, and that's where you can access directly the key request. All right, with that, let me pass along everyone to Felix, who's going to share more about setting up your LMS.
Thanks, Carl. All right, hello everyone. My name is Felix, and I'll be walking you guys through Canvas and Schoology today. So right now, actually let me take a step back. So right now I'm logged into Canvas. This is one of our managed accounts. What I did was I clicked on this admin tool. So if you are like the IT person or you have admin level access for your Canvas account, you'll be able to get here and then go down to settings, and then you click on settings, you might end up on a page like this. But what you want to do is go ahead and go over to the Apps tab. And there you'll be able to find our app. Looks like it's loading. Oh, there you go. 1 second, wait for this to load. There you go. So right here in this little search bar, I went and typed in CK12, so that brings up our app. You can click on that, and right here, there's a link to that form that Carl had mentioned that you would want to fill out to get the keys. So if you are the IT or district person, or if you're using an enterprise level Canvas or Schoology application, you would have them click on this link and it will pull up a form. Looks like this, fill that out. And then we try to get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. It's about our typical turnaround time. So just look for that email with the reply with the keys that you're gonna need. And let me go ahead back here. So for Canvas, you can go ahead and click on Add App, and then it's going to prompt you for that key and secret that you'll get from us. Click on Add App, and that will install it for you. And then I'm going to bounce over to this tab to show you Schoology. So this is an enterprise, I guess, level account. So down here you see the App Center. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then I'll show you, I guess, how to get to this from the basic Schoology account. So right here, we're one of the featured apps. So you can go ahead and click on CK12. And then again, we also have a link to that form. So if you're not sure where to find it, right in the description of our apps, you can find that link, click on it, fill it out, and get the keys sent to you. So once you have those keys, click on Install LTI app. It's going to prompt you to agree. And so if you are doing this for an organization, you would click on Add to Organization. If this was like just a single account, maybe just for your class, then you could do Install for me. So clicking on that will install it. But let me show you the basic Schoology account because the App Center is actually in a slightly different spot. So let me pull that up for you quickly. Okay, so here we go. So now I'm in the basic Schoology platform. As you can see, there's no side panel for the App Center, but right up here next to the search icon, there's like these 4 little tiles. If I click on that, it's going to bring up this App Center. So go ahead and click on that guy. This should look very familiar. Again, select CK12. It's all the same, and then I'm going to click on Install here. Same prompt, but now you can see on the basic version, it just gives you the courses. So I had previously installed these. So if you haven't installed anything yet, you would click Install, and then if I go to one of these courses, so after you install with the basic Schoology version, there's an additional step. So for the courses you haven't installed in, click on course options just below your course picture. And then right here where it says external tool providers, you would click on that. And then you should see our app listed. And what you would want to do is click on that, enter your key and secret, and then submit that. And that would be it for installing for Schoology. And this is the basic version. It's a little bit different, but mostly the same as far as finding the app. And with that, I will stop here and we'll go ahead and pass it back to Carl.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Felix, for that. We have gotten a little overview there, and we'll be bringing Felix back in just a bit, and we will have him show us much more on using CK12 through our LMS partners. Let me just share my screen here again. And as we've been discussing, CK12 has an LTI app that is compatible with Canvas. The app allows you to sign content from CK12 and select resources from your CK12 library. But the question is, what can you? So our core CK12 resources that you can access and assign in Canvas, as well as Schoology, include our reads, videos, Plix interactives, our simulations, adaptive practice, and real-world applications. We cover many of these in depth in our other sessions in the Certified Educator Program and in webinars throughout the year. But let's talk a little bit about what you're asking students to do and what is reported back to you. Practice and quizzes are scored as a percentage out of 10 or a total number. Text and video modalities are also able to be turned in when accessed and show either full credit or no credit if they've opened them or not. While Plix and Sims require that you start exploring the interactive before you can turn it in. If you want to reference this chart, you can find it as part of our Getting Started with Adaptive Practice and our assignment session resource page. And you can go to tinyurl.com/CK12practice. Now that you've seen what you can assign with Canvas and Schoology, let me turn this back over to Felix so he can show you the Canvas integration with CK12.
All right, thank you, Carl. So what I have here, I'm signed into CK12, or sorry, signed into Canvas. These are two of our demo courses that we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into this Jumpstart 2018. And then I'm also gonna go into assignments. So as you can see, we have some assignments already kind of created, but I'll walk through creating one. So I'll go ahead and give this a name. And if you're already using Canvas, this should look familiar. But right here where it says submission type, so after you're in the assignment editor and you scroll down to submission type, what you want to do is select external tool. And this is after you've installed our app. Click on this find icon or this find little button off to the side here. And it's going to pull up all your installed external tools. And then I'm going to click on CK12. And so what that did was it opened our app and it signed you into CK12 kind of behind the scenes. So the same thing will happen for your students after you've created the assignment and they're accessing assignments. So if you're wondering if they have to have separate accounts or they have to worry about logging in and out of CK12, if you're using Canvas, as soon as they're clicking on their assignment links, it's going to sign them in automatically. And I'll show you that a little bit later. So, so your students won't have to worry about a separate login or anything like that. We kind of take care of all that behind the scenes. So right now what you're seeing is, I guess, our initial or earlier version of the integration we did with Canvas. I'm going to go ahead and skip that because we'll be retiring this pretty soon. So for this demo, I'll just be showing the newer version that we have, which is pretty much a mirror of our full CK12 website. So in order to get there from Canvas, what you want to do is click on this preview link. And so this is going to load up our subjects page. Again, if you've been on our site even a little bit, you might have seen this. And this is exactly the same subjects that you're seeing listed on our website. So from there, I'll go ahead and click into the chemistry. And if I scroll down, I'm going to go ahead and select this guy here. And I'm going to jump into this molar mass concept. So right away, you'll see all these different tiles that we have listed. And like we saw earlier in the slide presentation, it was telling about the different types of modalities that you can assign. I'm going to expand that a little bit. So what we have here is the read, sim, video, practice, and real world. And actually what you're seeing right now, all of these can be assigned in Canvas. So this is a pretty good example. I'll go ahead and we'll do a practice since that seems to be pretty popular. And for most of these, what you're going to look for is this create assignment link on the side, or sometimes it's kind of up in the top. I'll show you that for one of our simulations. Once you find something that you like, you can click preview here to kind of go through these practice questions. And these are random, so you could go through these and get completely different questions that your students might see. If you did want to sort of see the questions, besides just previewing it, I think that another way you could do it is customize that. And then you'd be able to kind of drill down and see the questions that are actually on the pool of questions that are available for this. But we're not going to cover that here, but that is an option that you have. So I'll go ahead and click create assignment. And what this is going to do, it's going to create a link, this link here, that's going to be used to get you back into that assignment on CK12. For this particular modality type, the practice, you don't have to load it in a new tab, but for some of the interactives that we have, like the Plix and the simulation, I would actually check that off, and I'll show you what those look like in a second. So once you have that, you're pretty much done from here. Anything else you want to customize on the assignment is totally up to you. You can set the points that you want for it, and then you would just click save and publish, or just save if you still want to continue to modify that. So again, it's doing the same kind of load, but now instead of going into the app, it's just going to load the actual content or the assignment. So for teachers, you guys will see this sort of preview button. For students, they'll see a start, practice. So that's a practice assignment. Let me show you another. We'll create an assignment from a Flexbook. I know that's another popular option. So again, external tools already selected. I'll click find here, go to CK12. And the thing about our Flexbook assignments, and I'll go ahead to the newer version. So the thing with the Flexbooks is you can't assign the entire Flexbook. You can assign a section of that Flexbook. So I'm going to actually go to the library here. And so also you have the option to assign quizzes. So if you guys are looking to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and filter on our Flexbooks. Here's an EPISD government book. Click on that. So as you can see, there's no assign to class option here off to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and drill down into the chapter. Again, there's no assign to class here. But if you go into the section, here you see the actual create assignment link. And so if you click on that, and you can see the content here, if I click on that, it's going to do the same thing. So if you are actually interested in sharing a Flexbook, I think the easiest thing to do with this to go to CK12 directly, copy that link from the URL, and then you can just post it, copy and paste that into the assignment. So if you wanted to accompany this, you could do that here, paste it here, and then it would just accompany the assignment itself. I'll do this a title, and then I just want to show you what it looks like after it's what it looks like loaded into the assignment. So for our assignment, for anything that's a read or video, it might look a little different. And basically what we're doing is we're just taking away all the extra elements of the page and just giving you the content directly. So you don't see a lot of that side navigation. This is what we call our embedded view. So you just get the content itself, and none of the extra elements are there. And then let's see, I'll do one more. I'll do a simulation so you can see what that looks like and how to create that. Again, it's the same process. Select the sim. And the other thing is with the earlier edition, simulations and Plix are not available. Also, you can't assign your Flexbook sections as easily. So it's another reason you'd want to stick to using this version. So let me go to physics. I'm gonna click on this. So what I did there was I clicked on this simulations badge up here, and it opened in a new tab. In some cases, you might have a pop-up. That action might get blocked, so you might see something in this URL saying it's been blocked. You can click on that and allow it, and it'll open it up for you. So from here, I'll go with the first one. If you haven't seen our sims, they're really cool. I would encourage all of you guys to check those out when you get a chance. So here's the create assignment. Like I said, in some cases, it'll be at the top versus the side. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And what that did is it closed that extra tab, and then it dropped me back here. And then the link is here. And then I'm just going to give this a quick title and save it. Oh. And this is actually one of the resources I would have selected open in a new window. So let me actually show you how to do that in case you're not familiar. So I'm going to go back and edit. And I would encourage that for our simulation and our Plix, just so you have more real estate. So basically what I did was under that external tool option, I checked off this box here. So you have the option to come back and select that if you haven't done it already. I'll click save. And then, so you'll see this icon. It's going to say to load it in a new window. So we'll do the same thing, but now you get like the full real estate versus just that small window. And so that's creating the assignments in Canvas. Now I will actually jump to the student side of this and show you how they access. Okay, so this is our student account within the same Jumpstart 2018 course. Same assignments are here. I can go ahead and open up, let's do this just to show you. So what's happening now, like I said before, they're actually getting logged into CK12, so they don't have to worry about username, password. As for this student, I had already went through and done some of the practice, made an attempt. Here you see this turn-in button. So after they go through the practice, they want to go through the practice. Once they have a score that they're wanting to submit, they'll have the option to turn it in. They click on that. It's going to turn in the assignment, and that's where the actual grade passback happens for practice. Simulations and Plix all have an explicit turn-in button. Excuse me. For our read videos and even the Flexbook section assignments, they don't have an explicit turn-in button at the moment, but we are adding that. So probably by mid-2019, you'll see that. So maybe like springtime. But for right now, I'll show you how that works in a second. So this was an attempt by a student on a practice. If I scroll down, you can see that there's a report here kind of giving an overview of how they did, what the questions were, what they got right, what they got wrong, and etc. And I'm going to go back out, and I'll show you a Plix, just so you can kind of see what that looks like. So this is our Plix. These are not quite as interactive as the simulations, but they do have some interactive elements to them. And that interaction happens usually on the right side here, but you can play around with it. But for students to complete these, what they want to do is go ahead and click on this challenge me, and it's going to ask them some questions, so they'd have to interact with it. Click submit. Basically, as soon as they start interacting and they start attempting these questions here, we give them full credit for attempting the assignment, but it does require some interaction from them in order for that assignment to be submitted. And then quickly, I will show you kind of the simulation. So again, for the simulation, it's similar to where they'd have to interact with it. I'm going to skip this. And then once they get to this point, there's a turn in option here. They click on that, they could turn it in. And there's no challenge questions on the Sims as of yet, but that's something that we're working on incorporating. And so that was kind of students interacting. If I pull up the gradebook, as you can see, we do report the scores. I haven't done all of these assignments, but this is what it looks like for the student. And then quickly, I'm going to jump over to the teacher so you can see their gradebook. And so here's again, that same gradebook. And for practice and for quizzes, we actually have a URL that we attach, which is the report. So if I click on that, this will show you that same report that we saw for the student earlier. And so that's available for you guys. And how I got there, within Canvas, I clicked on this little link here, and then it had the URL there. So you can click on that, and that'll take you to that report for the student. So with that, I will jump over to Schoology. Let me find my tab. Okay. All right, so this is Schoology. I'm gonna go ahead, and for this one, I'll probably just show you how to create the assignment because everything else is pretty much the same with a few little caveats. So once you have it installed in Schoology, from the drop down, there's an Add Materials. Click on CK12. It's gonna load the app, and again, it's doing the same thing, signing you in. For Schoology, it takes you directly to this view. It doesn't go to the old one. And so again, everything is pretty much the same. I'll actually assign a quiz here. And again, this is the same library because it's the same account. So what I'll do is I'll create a quiz, and then I'll show you kind of there's like an extra step within Schoology when you're creating assignments here. So I'll go ahead and click on that create assignment. And this is the quiz that just showed up down here. So what you want to do is edit, and you can change the title. By default, we give whatever title that resource was. But here you want to click on enable grading. It's not enabled by default. And within Schoology, you kind of have to go in to edit after creating the assignment. You can give it a category, scale, period, all that stuff should look the same. And then save changes. And then if I can show you, kind of click on it and open it. It should all look pretty familiar. It's Canvas and Schoology pretty much have the same integration. The differences are mostly in the LMSs themselves. And so let me just go back. And then I can show you the gradebook for Schoology. They don't have the same, they don't support that report URL that I showed you in Canvas. So where you could see the students report for quizzes and practice. So if you were to go in here and you tried to look for it, you won't find it. It's not available. So if you have students that are in class, they could show you their report or take a screenshot and then submit that separately. But unfortunately, within Schoology, it's currently not supported, so we can't provide that same report. And then I can quickly just kind of show you the students. It looks very similar to the teacher. And then I'll pause we'll wrap up, and then we can do questions after if anyone has it. So here's that same Schoology now as a student. I'm going to go into here, my student, and then I'll actually show you a simulation. So in Schoology, they don't have the same where you can configure it to open in a new tab, but this little icon up here expands it to full screen. So if you click on that, it gives you a bigger real estate. So if you're doing any simulations or Plex assignments, they can click on this icon and it will open it up into almost a full-size window. So that's that. And then, and the turn-in options are the same. So for practice, they'll have a button. There you go. But that's pretty much it as far as creating assignments and accessing them for students and teachers. So I'll pause there and let Carl wrap up, and then I'll be available for questions after.
Alrighty, Felix, we've got a number of users with questions we'd like to go ahead and address right now. So the first one is, do students need to log in to enter CK12 if the app has been loaded into Schoology or into Canvas? So is there single sign-on available?
Yes, that is correct. So students will not have to log in separately. All they have to do from within Canvas or Schoology is click on the assignments themselves, and that, but kind of behind the scenes, is doing the single sign-on for them. So the answer is yes.
And speaking of assignments, Jared wants to know, is there a way to integrate all of the content into an entire modality in Canvas for read, sims, Plex, practice, and at all at once, so you don't have to choose each item one at a time? This seems like a pretty lengthy process.
Yeah, Jared, so we just released a 2.0 Flexbook, which is a newer version of basically like a new version of our site, which actually does a lot of what you're looking to do. It's not available as of yet within Canvas and Schoology, but it is something that we're working on. I would probably say if you get a chance to check that out. So I guess the short answer is not right now, but it is coming in the form of the Flexbooks 2.0, would give you kind of more of what you're looking for. So keep an eye out for that. That may be coming probably the start of next school year, if we can't get it any earlier. Sorry. So short answer is not yet, but it is coming in the form of Flexbooks 2.0.
And that's an example of how, we've listened to you, the users, to be able to say, we need to be able to do this in a faster, more efficient way. And so we've gone ahead and begun to implement that. So once again, it is available for users that are using our site directly, but we are working very hard now to do the integrations of Flexbook 2.0 into Canvas and Schoology. All right, so up next, how mobile friendly are the CK12 activities when they're embedded into an LMS like Canvas or Schoology?
Yeah, so our reads are pretty much built for mobile, but if you're doing anything, and practice as well, if you're doing something like a Plex or a simulation, those do require a certain real screen size. So if they're trying to do it on their phone, those assignments won't. It'll show like a message saying you need a bigger screen or the screen size is too small. So for those assignments, they'll have to stick with using, I think some tablets would be big enough for a laptop or desktop computer. But for like reads, videos, even if you're assigning adaptive practice or quizzes, those are all mobile friendly. And yeah, they'll render on your phone just fine.
All right, let's take one more question. And there was a general question here. How's the feedback on this program in general? Are schools using these LMS integrations? All right, once again, the question is, are schools using the Canvas and Schoology integrations?
Okay, yes. Yes, we do have a lot of schools using it, and that is that Flexbooks 2.0 that I mentioned. We had a lot of, a lot of traction from Schoology to kind of roll it, to use Schoology as kind of the first release candidate that we're doing for these between Canvas and Schoology. But we do have a lot of users using both Canvas and Schoology within their classrooms. I know a lot of times when our team goes off-site, it's either between Canvas, Schoology, or Google Classroom are the top ones that are being used. So we also do have on our site, we have what we call cafe. There's a jumpstart forum in there. If you guys have any questions related to using integrations in the classroom, I would encourage you to post a question there and see what other teachers that are already using it are doing. And oftentimes a lot of the teachers going through our certified educator program are there. So they might have some really good insights and kind of best practices that they've discovered along the way.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate that I travel quite a bit with schools around the country, and I'm amazed at how often I see our LMS partners really, using CK12 very well, including I was just 2 weeks ago down in LAUSD and has us as one of their partners, and we get quite a bit of usage from all the wonderful teachers down there in Los Angeles. So I do want at this point to go over a few more things, and we will continue to answer remaining questions and any other questions you might have. But I do want to wrap this up so that in case anybody has to log off, and I want to say a special shout out. We have quite a few people here from Europe today, and even waking up in the morning in Taipei. So thanks to all of you around the world who've joined us to find out a little bit more about CK12 and how to integrate with our LMS partners. All right, so before we go here, I want to remind you that in addition to links for installation and general information about our integration with Canvas and Schoology, as well as other learning management systems, you can find on our CK12 apps and our tools and apps page. So just go here and you can find out much more information. Also, our help section has a lot of great articles in it that can help you get started in case you're struggling at all. This month, we have 2 more webinars that will hopefully interest you. We'll be sharing our new and upcoming Common Core Math interactive Flexbooks on November 13, and hosting a session on customizing practice and assignments after Thanksgiving. If you missed our Getting Started with CK12 Adaptive Practice and Assignments webinar, you're welcome to watch the recording of that before the customizing session to give you an idea of the basics, though we did cover an introduction to practice and assignments today. You can find that recording and register for any of the upcoming webinars at ck12.org/webinars. And as I mentioned, there is a wonderful resource page that is available for today's webinar, and just go to that URL at the top of the screen there, and you will be able to download a PDF version, and you can print it out and tack it up next to your desk as a reminder to go take advantage of this great integration with both Canvas and Schoology. Each summer, we run an intensive professional development program for educators looking to become CK12 certified. To do that, they attend a series of 5 or more hour-long webinars, watch 2 on-demand sessions, and complete the matching assignments. If you are interested in becoming certified during this school year, please note that today's short session does not count to your live session requirements and thus does not have a matching assignment. However, if you want to learn more about the program, do so at ck12.org/certified. If you decide to do the whole program, we can issue your certificate and documentation at the end. However, you need a certificate documenting your participation in our webinars. So please make sure to email jumpstart@ck12.org and we can get you more information. Before we end today, I want to encourage you to fill out a short questionnaire to give us feedback on the content and presentation of this webinar, as we're always looking to improve your experience. The URL to the feedback is tinyurl.com/CK12webinar1819. And we'll also send you this link in a follow-up email for attending today. Well, with that, we'd like to say thanks for joining us today. As we've said, we're happy to help you in any way, so send us an email or post us a question in the CK12 Jumpstart forum in the cafe. Don't forget to let your social networks know about CK12 and your participation in our webinars. We're on all of the socials as CK12 Foundation, or you can even just use the hashtag CK12. That's it for today's core programming, but as promise, we're going to stay on for a couple additional questions that you'd like our team to answer. So with that, I'm going to go back here and let's go pick up on the final questions here. All right. I currently use Schoology, and I know that you cannot add any directions to the assignment like you can in Canvas. Is that a feature that is going to be supported in Schoology at some point, Felix?
So Raymond, that I'm actually not sure. That's, I guess, something that you might want to follow up with Schoology on. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, and just to clarify, that is a feature that is offered through the LMS that we're unfortunately not in control of. So, I would write to Schoology saying, hey, we would love a little description area that would really help us when we're making assignments. And, and they can borrow ideas from their competitor, and that happens. So, all right, here is another question here. Are teachers sync Schoology assignments to their PowerSchool grade books? Are there any issues or concerns with syncing CK12 assignments using this method?
So, hi, Philip. I wouldn't say that they're so the way our integration works is we report the score back to Schoology. So once that grade is in the gradebook in Schoology, from that point on, it should just sync just like any other grades there. But if you are having issues for the grade syncing from CK12 to Schoology, definitely let us know. But once it's in the grade book, it should sync just like any other grade that's in there.
And I have to say, Felix, that the syncing of the results from CK12 work back into Schoology and Canvas is really a feature that I hear from all of our users that they really, really like. They love that their students can go in, do some practice on CK12, but something tangible is passed back and they have a record of it for their gradebook. So that is really important. Another question about that topic. Barbara writes, from what I understand, practice assignments should all be worth 10 points in Canvas. Is there a standard number of points that corresponds to the number of challenge questions in PLIX or simulations? The PLIX sample I tried had 5 questions. Will it all be the same?
Yeah. So hi, Barbara. So for what happens with so anything that's not a practice assignment or a quiz assignment, those we basically give 100% 100% credit or 100% the full grade that you have given. So whatever the point value that you're setting in Canvas, we'll give that full amount back. Currently it's not tied so much to the number of challenge questions. It's just like they either get credit or they don't right now. And I think we in the future plan on having our PLIX and simulations be more tied to the set of challenge questions. But at this time, it's just full credit or none.
And I'll just add to that, PLIX and Sims were both designed as learning activities. They're not assessment activities. So we really want the student to feel like they can take risks and they can, answer questions while still in the learning environment. Because of this, all that's passed back to the LMSs is simply, did the kid engage with the interactive? Not just did they open it, but did they participate a little in it? But please understand that at this point, by design, those two interactives really aren't meant to pass back like a summative grade on how they did. So we're hoping that, like with so much on CK12, it's really about improving student learning. Well, Felix, we have gone through all the questions, and we appreciate all the people that are still with us that have continued to learn throughout this 45 minutes. And we look forward to seeing you on one of our next webinars coming up. At any point, remember, you can email us at support@ck12.org. Reach out to us if you have any specific questions, and we would love to help you use more of CK12. All right, from all of us here at the World Headquarters in Palo Alto, we wish you all good morning, good night, and good evening. Have a good day.
Bye.